हेलो एवरीवन। आज हम साथी स्पीक पे बात करने वाले हैं नीलम नानवानी। वो एक शामनिक प्रैक्टिशनर और टीचर हैं 2012 से। उनकी सब्जेक्ट्स जैसे एंसेस्ट्रल हीलिंग, ड्रीम, इनर चाइल्ड और शैडो वर्क में भी एक्सपर्टीज है। शामनिक विजन एक कम्युनिटी प्लेटफॉर्म है जो नीलम ने अपने ट्विन फ्लेम पॉल के साथ 2012 में स्टार्ट किया था विद द विजन ऑफ स्प्रेडिंग एंशिएंट वेज एंड इंडिजिनस टीचिंग्स टू सोसाइटीज। और इसी विजन के एक्शन में वो अक्रॉस द ग्लोब वेबिनार्स और वर्कशॉप्स कंडक्ट करते हैं। हमारे सारे साथी एक कंपेनियन के रूप में हमारे टीचर्स भी होते हैं। मेरी साथी नीलम के साथ मैंने इस कॉन्वर्सेशन के जरिए एक नया वर्ल्ड एक्सप्लोर किया और उनसे सीखा कि कैसे हम शामनिज्म के जरिए अपने आप को जान सकते हैं। वेलकम नीलम, थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग हियर ऑन साथी स्पीक्स टुडे। मैं फ़र्स्ट ऑफ़ ऑल बहुत-बहुत ग्रेटफुल फ़ील कर रही हूँ इस मोमेंट में, क्योंकि आज मैं आपसे एंशिएंट वेज़ और इंडिजिनस वेज़ ऑफ़ लिविंग के बारे में सीखने वाली हूँ और ये मेरे दिल के बहुत करीब है। मुझे ये चीज़ करना बहुत पसंद है, अपने एंसेस्टर्स के बारे में और जानना। तो मैं आपको सबसे पहले इनवाइट करूँगी टू ओपन अप द वर्ल्ड ऑफ़ एंसेस्टर्स टू अस।
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक यू फॉर हैविंग मी एंड हम जब भी कोई नया काम शुरू करते हैं, जैसे हिंदुइज्म में ना, हम जब हवन करते हैं तो भी ओपन अप सेक्रेट स्पेस, हम दसों दिशाओं का आवाहन करते हैं, हम सभी देवी देवताओं का आवाहन करते हैं। तो शामनिज्म एक यूनिवर्सल प्रैक्टिस है, इट्स अ यूनिवर्सल प्रैक्टिस, इट एग्जिस्ट इन ऑल पार्ट्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। तो हम अपने कॉन्वर्सेशन की शुरुआत भी सेक्रेड एलिमेंट्स को बुला के और डायरेक्शंस को बुला के करेंगे। सो वी विल स्पेंड अ फ्यू मिनट्स इन ओपनिंग अप द सेक्रेट स्पेस, ताकि जो भी बात मुझसे निकले, जो भी बात आप सब तक पहुंचना चाहते हो, वही मेरे मुंह से निकले। वट एवर द स्पिरिट वॉन्ट्स मी टू स्पीक, दैट एंड दैट फ्लोज थ्रू मी। सो फॉर दैट, so whoever is listening, I would request all of you to just take a few deep breaths, center and ground yourselves. Pay attention to all the sensations in your body and give an intention in your heart that whatever you need to learn is spoken through me by Spirit, and whatever you need to understand flows through both of us in this conversation. I invoke the spirit of the East, the element of air, the direction of rising sun, to join us in this sacred circle today, to bring forth its freshness, its newness, its joy, its inspiration through the season spring, for new beginnings, for new teachings into our sacred circle today. The element of air being the element of communication, of sound. I request your presence today, dear one, to speak to us, to speak about your wisdom through us, about these ancient ways, through storytelling, through sound, through our words. We welcome your presence today in this sacred circle. Please join us, Spirit of the East. Aho. Invoking the spirit of the south, the direction of the midday sun, of the element of fire, for transformation, for transmutation, for action, for passion, for togetherness, for joy, for family. We welcome your presence today, dear one, in this sacred circle, for allowing our words to be good words, for allowing the medicine that we reach out with be good medicine, and may it reach out to the hearts of those who listen in a good way. We welcome your presence, dear one, in this sacred circle. Please join us, Spirit of the South. Hello. spirit of the west, of that of the setting sun, the waning moon, Mama Ocean, you from whom we are born, the sacred waters within our womb. We welcome your joy. We welcome your inner child innocence. We welcome your flow. We welcome your intuitive ability of the sacred waters to flow in our conversations through you. We welcome your presence today, Spirit of the West, in this sacred circle. Aho. The spirit of the north, of those of the ancient ones and the old ones, of our ancestors, of the tree people, the rock people, of those who have walked this path before us. I welcome your presence, dear ones, today in this sacred circle. Allow me to be led through you. Speak to me, speak through me. I welcome your presence, I welcome your wisdom in this sacred circle today. Please join us, Spirit of the North. Aho. Grandfather Sky, who sits above us, of all the angels and the archangels, the star nations, Father, Sun, Grandmother, Moon, the galactic womb, I call upon your energy today in the sacred circle, Grandfather. Watch upon us, hold us in your galactic womb as we share these teachings to one and all. We welcome your blessings, we welcome your sacredness, we welcome your protection today in the sacred circle. Please join us, Grandfather Sky. Aho. Mother Earth, you from whom we are born and to you we shall return. Teach us your ways. Bring this old and ancient ways into our circle. Teach us about the interconnectivity of life, about giving back to earth, about living in alignment with you, in partnership with you, in reciprocity with you, in gratitude to you, dear Mother. We welcome your blessings. We welcome your wisdom today in this sacred circle. Please join us, Mother Earth. Aho. To the sacredness of the seventh direction, sacred space within our heart, the seventh direction of the direction of now, the center of the wheel. Without the center, the other directions cannot exist. We call forward your presence today and the blessings today, dear one, in the sacred circle. Teach us your ways, allow us to be present in the heart space, allow us to stay in the center as we learn these ancient ways and come back to remembering and remembering all an ancient wisdom that is already stored in our DNA to realize that in this sacred web of life, we are all one. And with this blessing of oneness, dear ones, we welcome you into the sacred circle. Aho. I call forward the blessings and the presence of all our ancient ones and the ancient ancestors of our lineage, the wise ones of our lineage, spiritual ancestors, the ancestors of the land where we reside, all the all our guides and power animals, angels, archangels, the divine mother, the divine father, spirit of technology to bless us in these times that connects us, the foods that shelter us and the homes that protect us. We call forward your blessings today in the sacred circle. Aho. To the divinity that resides within each one of us. I call forward the presence of the divine that you are. With that, we open up the sacred space. Aho. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. क्या तरीका है पॉडकास्ट स्टार्ट करने का. Such a beautiful way to start a conversation, to open up the portals like this. I feel so calm right now. I wish कि सारी podcasts मैं किसी ऐसे रिचुअल से स्टार्ट कर सकती. Maybe I can think of some ritual like this to start my podcasts with. It is so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the ancestors, spirits, everybody, almighty creation. मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी नीलम की आपकी जर्नी इस पाथ पे ऑफ एंशंट वेज ऑफ लिविंग में कैसे स्टार्ट हुई.
So I have been in the field of healing and spirituality for the past many years, more than 20 years. It started with Reiki, then it went to angels and hypnotherapy and a little bit of NLP and subconscious mind and tarot and you name it. However, there was some answers that I was not receiving through these methods. And whenever I would hear the word shamanism, my ears would perk up. And I did not know what it was cognitively, but there was a innate calling. And that's why we say that shamanism is often an inner calling. We may not know what it is, what it encompasses, but your soul, your heart, your gut will pull you towards those teachings. So that's how I was pulled. And when I started embarking on the journey of learning shamanism, I felt immensely at home within myself. It felt that I'm not learning anything new, but I'm remembering. And that's why I say it's a path of remembering and remembering who you already are. So that's why it's coming back home to ourselves. Shamanism is a very ancient practice. It goes back to 10,000 years in many cultures. It's a very universal practice. And we often say this in our workshops that when we embark on this journey, we are not learning something new, but we are remembering already that is ingrained deeply in our DNA because this is a path, it's a way of life. It's not just a healing method, it's a way of life. It's how our ancestors lived. And so, through that ancestral DNA, the path is already encoded within us. So, it really brought me home back to myself. And after that, whatever teachings came my way, they broadly fell under the umbrella of shamanism, whether it was ancestral work, whether it was dream work, whether it was divine feminine or masculine work, whether it was shadow work, whether it was ancestral work, all aligned under the broader umbrella of shamanism. And it felt very peaceful. It felt I came back home to myself. And that's how it started. And then since then, I have never had to look back for any other methodology.
Wow. मैं बहुत रिलेट कर सकती हूँ बिकॉज आई हैव ऑलवेज बिन पुल्ड टूवर्ड्स शैमनिज्म सो मच. मेरी जर्नी इन कॉन्शियस अवेयरनेस 2017 में स्टार्ट हुई थी विद somebody who was a shamanic practitioner. उन्होंने मुझे मेडिटेशन इंट्रोड्यूस किया था और उन्होंने ही मुझे जर्निंग कराई थी फर्स्ट टाइम मेरी. But I guess over a period of, and that's after that is when I met my twin flame, and which I don't think you know, but that's when I met my twin flame, and he was very much into, like, he used to get pulled by trees. तो उसको trees बहुत bright लगते थे after meditation, and like there was just this weird shamanic connection that we shared, and I guess some grace is there जिसकी वजह से you and I are also now connected. So the shamanic world always calls out to me. तो मैं इस वर्ल्ड के बारे में और इन वेज के बारे में आपसे ऑफ कोर्स और जानना चाहती हूँ. तो मैं स्टार्ट करना चाहूंगी ये जानने में कि वो कौन सी रूट है इस पर्टिकुलर वे ऑफ लिविंग की जो सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, जो इसको होल्ड करके रखती है.
This is how our ancestors lived. Now, if I were to break it down, how did our ancestors live? They lived in alignment with nature. They lived in alignment with Mother Earth. Today's man, today's mankind has learned to dominate nature, wants to create dominion over nature. The ancient ways teach us about living in alignment and partnership and collaboration with nature. So, nature is very kind and nature teaches us a lot of things, but there has to be a relationship of reciprocity. It's not just take from nature, it's also what I can give back to the nature. That is what creates a partnership. So, what is shamanism? Shamanism is all about partnering. Partnering with whom? Partnering with nature, partnering with elementals, partnering with our soul, partnering with our ancestors, partnering with the dream world, partnering with anything and everything on this planet, partnering with animate or inanimate. Because just like in Sanatan Dharma or in Hinduism, we say that प्रकृति के कण कण में प्राण होते हैं. Similarly, the fundamental premise of shamanism is everything is alive, everything is energy, everything is connected to everything else. And so it teaches us tools and techniques and practices of learning from nature, of aligning with nature, of partnering with nature, of how to heal using these practices of nature and how to heal our soul. So that's the fundamental premise of the shamanic way of being.
Wow. So companionship, partnership, that's
Collaboration, I would say
collaboration
collaboration and partnership. Yeah.
is the basis of it all. And how beautiful is that? Because हम एक ऐसे वर्ल्ड में रह रहे हैं जहाँ कोडिपेंडेंसी बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. वी हैव सो मेनी बीइंग्स अराउंड अस. मैं और आप एक प्लैनेट पे साथ पे, इसलिए भले ही आए थे अकेले, जाएंगे अकेले, बट कहीं ना कहीं जो पूरी जर्नी है, लाइफ जर्नी के बारे में है, एंड जर्नी में हम साथ में ही हैं. We are all sailing in the same ship at the end of the day of this planet. That's so beautiful. Can you tell?
Just a second. So it's not about codependency, it's about healthy interdependence. And there is a huge difference between the two. Codependency creates unhealthy entanglement and unhealthy attachment. Healthy interdependence is a mutual reciprocity. It's a mutual give and take without entanglement. So it's about healthy interconnectedness. The teachings teach us that in this web of life, we treat this life as an entire web, an entire wheel. And you are one spoke of the wheel, and I am another spoke of the wheel. Somebody else is another spoke of the leaf. And in this whole web or wheel, all the spokes are interconnected. And that's why, if you remember, I used that the sacred space of the seventh direction of the heart, which is the center of the wheel. In this wheel, if without the center, the spokes cannot exist in the wheel of life. So if we visualize this entire web and the entire humanity as a wheel, and each one of us is playing a unique role and is like an independent, unique spoke, and yet realize that I am not so important, but I am also connected to other spokes of the wheel, because if the other spokes don't exist, then I will not be able to perform, or I will not exist. So it teaches us oneness in the wheel of life. It teaches us interconnectedness. And through this interconnectedness, we also learn a very important lesson of cause and effect, of how what I am saying today is creating ripple effects in your life and perhaps in the life of the audience that will be listening to us. And also, what they say or they do or they don't do is also a choice and will have a ripple effect in the lives of those that they touch. In the ancient times, the Nima, when our ancestors had to take any action, they would introspect what will be the repercussion or the cause and effect of my action on seven future generations. If I do this, how is it going to affect my descendants and my future seven generations? And with that awareness in mind, every action was taken. So there was this whole sense of responsibility and the awareness of cause and effect in this whole web of life, which says what I do affects you and what you do affects me. Similarly, if I don't do something, that is also a choice and that has also got an effect. in the web of life. And there was so much responsibility and awareness towards not just nature, but everything that we interacted with, everyone that we interacted with.
And so much love with that interconnectedness. So much love. Love as the basis of the collaboration, the partnership. तो ये इंटरकनेक्टेडनेस भी कॉज एंड इफेक्ट की वजह से ही क्रिएट होती है. लाइक व्हाट इज द एंटायर, मतलब लॉजिक तो नहीं बोलूंगी, बट लाइक व्हाट इज द एक्सप्लेनेशन बिहाइंड इट, मे बी लाइक why does the cause and effect is what connects us all somewhere?
So the fundamental premise of the teaching is that we are in this whole web and we are interconnected. And even so, what I do has a ripple effect in life of you or this room or this society or anybody else. Even quantum physics has proved today what shamans knew thousands of years ago. If you put two people in a room totally disconnected from each other, totally not known to each other, and one person is made to direct thoughts of violence to the other person in the other room, not knowing who he or she is, you can measure its effect in their aura. Similarly, if two people are poles apart and one person directs loving thoughts to that other person, you can still measure it in that aura. It reflects. There is cause and effect of everything. That's a universal fundamental principle that we are in relation to each other. So there is a theory of relativity. Like we are not living independent like a narcissist that we've become today. मुझे ये चाहिए तो मैं ये करूंगा, पर उसका असर दूसरों पे क्या होगा, कॉस्मोस के क्या होगा. बिल्डिंग्स बनानी है तो हमने पेड़ तो काट दिए, लेकिन एनवायरनमेंट पे इसका क्या असर होगा. एनवायरनमेंट पे तो जो असर होगा होगा हमारे इस लाइफ टाइम में, तो जो असर होगा होगा हमारे फ्यूचर जनरेशंस को हम कैसा अर्थ छोड़ के जा रहे हैं. दैट्स द प्रिमाइस ऑफ कॉज एंड इफेक्ट, because we never forget that we hold a unique responsibility in this web of life. So every action that I take matters, and every word that I speak matters, and every choice that I make and don't make matters. It's that important. This fundamental essence is that important.
And yet we fear, and yet हमारे अंदर डर है, और yet हम अपने आप को डाउट करते हैं. मैं आपको थोड़ा सा बैकग्राउंड देती हूँ. Why this thought came to me of doubt after whatever you said. I'm bamboozled by what you just said, because मैं एक अपने फ्रेंड के इवेंट पे गई थी, जहां मैं दो इंडिविजुअल्स से मिली, जो मैं एक्चुअली आपसे पूछने वाली थी. उन दोनों इंडिविजुअल्स ने मुझे आपका नाम मेंशन किया था कि there's a lady in Ahmedabad, that person was somebody who was a shamanic practitioner from Canada, and I was like, okay, I've never heard of this person's name, but very interesting. And मैं उस इवेंट में मैंने सिर्फ उन दोनों लोगों से ही बात की है. फुल 1.5 घंटे ऐसा लग रहा था वहां गई उसके लिए थी. एंड देन व्हेन आई केम बैक होम, one of my friends who I was talking to, I see her as the water element in my life. She like holds things together for all of me and a few more friends who are connected to us. उसने मुझे एक लड़की से इंट्रोड्यूस कराया, which was the person who connected you to me, and she wanted to reach out to me to get a tarot reading done for the longest time, and उसने मुझे नहीं reach out किया. But that is the moment that she picked to reach out to me, and that's when she said, you should definitely talk to Neelam and do a podcast with her. And then I was like, I'm hearing this name again. And my dad also at that point of time left for a tour to Ahmedabad. So I was like, there is some synchronicity here, and I should definitely reach out to you. But still, somewhere I was doubting the synchronicity, and I was doubting all of that was being orchestrated for us to do this podcast together. I question, why do we doubt? Why do we still fear when we know that we are all in this together? हम सब साथ में हैं ही, है love, है collaboration, है nature, सब हमारे लिए काम कर रहा है. क्यों डरते हैं हम?
Thousands of years of programming and thousands of years of programming of having moved away from these teachings, having been moved away from the true journey of our essence and our divinity and our soul, of the suppression of the divine feminine way of being, of so many years of power struggle, the dance of the ego, the wounded masculine, so many reasons which have made us doubt who we really are. We've really forgotten who we really are. And that's the whole journey of shamanism through which we remember. And I will repeat this statement endless times, through which we remember and remember who we truly are. Because अगर एक पेड़ को कोई कह देता है कि तुम पौधा हो और तुम बंजर हो, तो उस पौधे को, उस पेड़ को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, बिकॉज दैट ट्री is very firmly rooted in its essence as who he or she is. The tree is the tree is the tree. बट नीलम को कोई अगर कह देगा कि तुम गधी हो, तुम इतना ऊंचा बोलती हो, तुम इतना खराब बोलती हो, तुम इतनी अच्छी नहीं दिखती, तो हम उसको अपना सच बना लेंगे और हम ये बोल लेंगे कि मेरे में क्या प्रॉब्लम था, मैंने क्यों ऐसा, मुझे क्यों ऐसा फीडबैक मिला कि लोगों को मेरा पॉडकास्ट अच्छा नहीं लगा, मेरे में क्या कमी रह गई, क्या हुआ? बिकॉज नीलम अपने तत्व में, अपने दिव्य ऊर्जा में, अपने डिवाइन एसेंस में रूटेड नहीं होगी, तभी वो फर्क पड़ेगा. इफ नीलम इज रूटेड 100% in the divinity that she is, what difference will it make what Dinima thinks of her, what XYZ thinks of her, or what judgment will she receive, or what praise will she receive? आज कोई अगर मेरी तारीफ करता है तो हम भूल जाते हैं, और कोई अगर हमारी अ, आलोचना करता है, क्रिटिसिज्म करता है कोई हमारा, तो हम दुखी हो जाते हैं. क्यों हो जाते हैं? क्यों फर्क पड़ना चाहिए? अगर हम अपने एसेंस में रूटेड हैं, तो हम अगर हम जानते हैं कि ये मेरी जर्नी है, ये मैं हूँ, मैं कौन हूँ सही में, और यही मेरी जर्नी है, तो उससे अगर मैं अपने आप को पहचानती हूँ पूरी तरह से कि मैं इस तरह की हूँ, तो कोई मुझे एबीसी के बदले एक्स वाई जेड कह लेगा, एप्पल के बदले कोई मुझे ऑरेंज कह देगा, तो एप्पल को थोड़ी फर्क पड़ने वाला है, लेकिन पड़ता है, क्योंकि एप्पल अपने आप में ही विश्वास नहीं कर रहा. That's where we doubt, that we fear. And this has been a byproduct of the journey of moving away from our core. We have been taught and programmed to do and be what our family wants us to be, to do and be what religion and culture wants us to be and do what society wants us to be. To top it all, our existence is colored by imprints from the womb of the mother, from the ancestral lineage, from our past lifetimes. And we carry that mask of this is who I am, but that is the mask of what my parents want me to be, what my peers want me to be, how I compare myself with other beings in the society, and my success parameters or my existential parameters are driven by success as measured and defined by society parameters of good, bad, right, wrong, ugly, beautiful, money, etc., etc., rather than helping us realize who we truly are, and that's what that matters. Is at the soul level, I am deeply rooted and have an innate knowing. This is who I am. This is why my soul chose to be birthed to these parents in this family, in this city, in this country. Why I have chosen these challenges and why I have been given these strengths. And what am I as a soul in this lifetime here to learn, grow, and evolve into? If each one of us were to know this ever so deeply within us, then will there be a reason for anybody to be insecure? Will there ever be a reason for anybody to compare with each other? Will our comparison driven by better cars, better phones, better homes, more money, etc., 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 the whole capitalism that goes on, will our definition and a sense of self, of who we are, be driven by these factors? No. And if I am secure within myself, if everybody is secure and rooted in who they really are, insecurity ends. Tera mera ends. Acquiring more for feeling secure within ends. Greed ends. Dominion ends. And that's where we know true interconnectedness and true oneness and true harmony that we all spiritualists talk about. So that's the
Wow.
whole journey of shamanism.
Wow. Wow. Um, Again, मतलब I am speechless. But the thoughts that did come to my mind when you were talking was, एक तो I'll give you like two things. Like first is an onion, like how you know the bulb is there, that is like our root, and then we have all these layers and layers and layers. Actually, we are the bulb at the end, that is our core, that is our light, which is not so strong to make us cry. Maybe it's the layers when we cut into them जो हमें रुलाती हैं, जिनके through gases निकलती हैं. And another thing is, which is a little funny, because a few, not a few, but like 2 3 of my friends like called me pineapple recently. And pineapple also reminds you of the same thing, right? You know, it's very like bahar se it's so hard, and like with like little specks of furs that come out of it. And when you cut into it, it's like so sweet. So it sort of gave me like two inferences that I think my mind interpreted to help myself. Ek ki, you know, have like a thick, tough skin, but you know that you are super sweet inside and super juicy inside. And another thing was with the pineapple that, you know, no matter how tough I try to be, I am a sweet person inside, and there is no masking that, there is no hiding that. So why can't I just rather be um, some fruit which like strawberry? You know, why can't I just be a strawberry? Um, so that came to my head, and the third thing is a question. Okay, yes, you say.
So I would like to reframe if this was my situation, that if I were
Oh,
Dinima, then I would like to say that I can be the fruit and the juice that I am born to be. Not a strawberry, not a pineapple, not a coconut.
ooh. Oh, I'm gonna be a cocktail. Whatever I want to be. Yeah.
Whatever I am meant, whatever is my core essence. And finding our core essence is the entire journey, isn't it? We are
Huh.
programmed so much through thousands of years of existence on this earth that we've really forgotten who we really are. And that's the journey. And it's exactly like the coconut and the layers peeling off. You peel off one layer, you peel off one mask, another mask, another mask, another mask, until you get to the core of who you really are. And that's the whole spiritual journey all about, whether it is shamanism or anything else. But that's the crux of the journey
Wow.
of each individual.
Yeah. मेरे गुरु ने मुझे एक बार बोला था कि तुम लाइफ में ये करोगी, ये करोगी, ये करोगी. मुझे नोइंग तो थी कि हाँ मैं ये करूंगी, बट कहीं ना कहीं हम सबको वो नोइंग होती है अपने बारे में कि हाँ ये तो हम अचीव करेंगे. विदाउट द सोसाइटल पर्सपेक्टिव ऑल्सो देयर इज दिस टाइनी लिटिल वॉइस इनसाइड आवर हेड जो बोलती है यू आर मेंट फॉर दिस एंड यू नो इट, बिकॉज दैट्स व्हाट कीप्स पुलिंग यू बैक टू इट. बट मैंने उनसे बोला मैं करूंगी, ये सब मेरे जरिए होगा, मैं कर पाऊंगी. मीज लाइक हाँ बिल्कुल कर पाओगी. मैंने कहा अरे कैसे होगा ये. तो मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे यही है कि फियर, सेल्फ डाउट, yes, conditioning, everything valid, 100%, but it is there. Now what do we do? Like how do we, what does shamanism tell us कि हम कैसे वो delayering कर सकते हैं, and knowing thyself वाले aspect पे question raise कर सकते हैं कि कैसे, how do I know myself?
Yeah. So the first step is connection to our soul. And what has happened also from shamanic lens when we stayed close to nature, we knew our true nature because we are part of nature. We are embodiment of nature. All those five elements, etc., live within us. We are an extension of nature. Nature lives inside of us, breathes inside of us. And when we lived in the wilderness, when we lived close to nature, we lived close to our true nature. Alienation from nature has also disconnected us from who we really are, from our true nature and authenticity. So, the journey, in my opinion, the first step begins with reconnecting back to nature, understanding nature, connecting with nature, communicating with nature, and through that, realizing and communicating with that core essence within ourselves. Uh, Is staying with the question, there are obviously many processes and tools that we talk about in our workshops, but the first step is to stay with the question: if I am not this or that, then who am I? Who am I at the soul level? What is my soul? Who is my soul? Can I spend a few minutes daily connecting from, exiting from my mind and connecting to my heart? Bearhart was a shaman who wrote the book Wind is My Mother. And he, in one of his interviews, says, which we share with our students also, and it applies equally to me as much as to you or anyone else, is that the greatest, the biggest, the longest journey that we travel or cover is from our mind to our heart. We've been programmed and conditioned to think from our mind and not be in our heart. So as soon as we connect back with our heart and through that find ways to connect back to our soul, to our spirit, and to realize that the entire universe is co-creating for us and with us and collaborating with us, and we learn how to collaborate with universe, how to partner with the universe, how to understand different signs, symbols and synchronicities of the universe, and through that our soul, and come back to our heart and our body. That's a great beginning of the journey of knowing who we really are.
um, एक मतलब जनरलाइज तरीके से नहीं पूछना चाहूंगी ये क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि एक्चुअली आई डोंट नो व्हाट द ट्रूथ इज, बट मेरी लाइफ में अपना एग्जांपल लेना चाहूंगी कि बहुत बारी ऐसा हुआ है जब मुझे लगता है कि ये सब बहुत वू है, लाइक दिस इज ऑल टू मच, लाइक दिस इज ऑल अनबिलीवेबल. देयर इज अ पार्ट ऑफ मी जो हमेशा लॉजिक और रीजन ढूंढता और बोलता है ये तो मैजिक वैजिक ये सब है, मतलब क्या करना. And knowing thyself, I know myself. And there's another aspect which is very scared also. कि knowing myself, if I do know myself, oh my god, मेरे अंदर क्या ही छुपा हुआ होगा. I have done so many things जो मैंने शायद गलत किए हैं. There are so many sins that I have done or so many things that I've done wrong while growing up. वो सब मैं कैसे फेस कर पाऊंगी, या मतलब कैसे होगा. तो कनेक्टिंग विद द सोल, लाइक यस, बट वो फर्स्ट स्टेप लेने के लिए बहुत करेज चाहिए होता है. वो हम कैसे डेवलप कर सकते हैं? मे बी जैसे आपने बोला कनेक्टिंग विद नेचर, लाइक इज देयर लाइक अ टूल सोल्यूशन फॉर दैट?
That's a very interesting question. See, I feel the seed is there in every one of us. And the timeline or the lifetime in which that seed may ripen to sprout and to grow may vary from person to person. However, in my limited knowing and understanding, there is immense influx of light on the universe, on this earthly plane, for all of us to become aware and to awaken. Now, whether I will allow that awakening and connection to happen or not is my free will, and universe never interferes with free will. We all know that. How do we find the courage is a very interesting question but perhaps I will try to answer it differently. My journey for awakening or arising into these teachings perhaps is getting ready for me following the path, and the universe sends me a whisper, shamanism. And I'm curious, what is shamanism? And I Google and I look, and there is no teacher of shamanism in India at that point in time, and my curiosity remains. Days goes by, that calling becomes louder and louder. Right. Now it's up to me whether I listen to that call or I keep ignoring the call. The universe speaks to us at first through gentle whispers, through gut feeling, through instinct, through messages in our dreams, through signs, symbols, and synchronicity, through gentle random occurrences. Knock, 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 pay attention. My choice and my free will be to pay attention to these whispers and dive in to the extent that I feel ready right now. Or my choice will be to continue to ignore these whispers. ये सब बकवास है, ऐसे सब थोड़ी होता है, ये सब वू है, ये सब sham है. And my soul is becoming ripe for the journey. And the whispers through the soul, through the divinity, through the universe will become louder. So, for example, at first, the whispers may be random example. Still, I'm choosing to ignore, and the whispers will become louder. Still, I'm choosing to ignore, and the whispers will become louder. Still, I'm not facing the courage, and the whispers will still become louder. Still, I'm not finding the courage, and the whispers will become even louder. Wake up, wake up, wake up. And what I mean by these whispers becoming louder is universe's way of trying to draw its attention through various occurrences. First, it can be through gut instinct, gentle messages through dreams, sign symbols and synchronicity, you coming across an article and reading it. The second louder whisper could be your friend coming and telling you something. You meeting three people talking the same story about shamanism, about Neelam and Paul. Another whisper. You can still choose to ignore it, and the whisper may become louder. Anytime you're trying to do a podcast, cancel, clear, delete in advance, but just giving random examples. Something or the other hurdle comes up because universe wants you're paying attention here, and universe wants to bring your direction here. There's a very famous quote which Oprah Winfrey says that every rejection is not a rejection, but a redirection. So that's what the universe will do to us until we pay attention. कि मुझे जाना यहाँ है, मैं कॉर्पोरेट लाइफ में यहाँ भाग रही हूँ, लेकिन यूनिवर्स मुझे इस पाथ पे ले जाना चाह रहा है, पर मैं देख नहीं पा रही हूँ, हिम्मत नहीं आ रही है कॉर्पोरेट जॉब छोड़ने की. तो यूनिवर्स विल गिव मी more louder whispers like a catastrophic incident so that I can pause. It could be an accident, it could be an illness, it could be a relationship loss, it could be a job loss. In my case, I was into sales, into HDFC Standard Life, and I was great with clients. But when the time would come to close the deal, something or the other random nonsensical thing would happen that not close. The company would draw the product, the decision makers of the company or the client would change, I would fall ill, or we would not get a grant or a discount from the management, and the client would go to competition. Something or the other would happen that kept lingering. And I asked my soul and my teacher as to there is a process in shamanism called power animal retrieval. So after power animal retrieval, your career is supposed to skyrocket. And my career was stagnant. Like deal पे 4 साल काम किया, 2 साल काम किया, अब वो डील क्लोज होने वाली है और लास्ट स्टेप पे कुछ बदल जाएगा. कि तो ऐसा क्या हो रहा है मेरी जिंदगी में जो मैं अटेंशन नहीं पे करी. एंड दैट्स वेयर इन माय टीचर एंड माय guides and my soul told me that maybe universe wants me to, I'm looking here, but maybe universe wants me to look in this direction. And then I found courage being within the corporate job to start applying these tools and practices. मेरे डेस्क पे ना दिन में बाकायदे देवी माँ का ऑल्टर होता था, क्रिस्टल्स होते थे, पेंडुलम होता, और मैं थेरेपी की बात करती थी, डाउजिंग करती थी, और मेरे बॉसेस मुझे छेड़ते थे कि क्लाइंट को हिप्नोटाइज क्यों नहीं करती हो, बिजनेस क्यों नहीं ले आती? हिप्नोथेरेपी है। And then slowly some came, and then obviously then I started doing a project with downtrodden kids within the part of corporate social responsibility within my corporate. Then my health started improving a little bit. Colleagues would come home on weekends and I would do sessions with them, and that's how my health started improving. And then finally I found the courage after I met Paul to quit my corporate job, and both of us then went gung-ho into teaching our soul's calling, that is shamanism. But I went through my own fair share of illness before I could pay attention and find the courage to take the call. So the whispers will get louder and louder and louder. Maybe in this lifetime, maybe in another lifetime. But there will come a point when we will be forced to listen. So many people in COVID lost their jobs. Was it because it is a cruel universe? No, because it is a benevolent universe trying to draw your attention to something else that you ought to be doing, but you otherwise would not have paid attention. It's a COVID and pandemic is the universe being benevolent, trying to draw the attention of humanity. You become too capitalist, you become too masculine. Withdraw, retreat, pay attention to the different side of things, where we talk about unity, where we talk about oneness, where we talk about love, where we talk about slowing down, where we talk about the feminine way of being. Go within. We were forced to face our inner demons because we were forced to slow down. Okay. Community sense increased. All that represented feminine increased during COVID. We were forced to pause some actions. We were forced to go within. We were forced to do something creative, spend time with family. A lot of aspects which represent the feminine way of being started usurping. Mother Earth started breathing better. One test is over. We've again gone back to the old look. But different kind of challenges are happening in each one of our lives. The tests and the initiations have become stronger. The knock-knock and the whispers have become stronger. The journeys have expedited, and lot of turmoil and tumult I'm seeing in individual journeys. Some people will call it stuckness. Some people will call it illness. Some people will call it relationship hurdles. Some people will call it financial hurdles. Why is so much churn in the chaos happening? Its universe is kind and benevolent way, our soul's kind and benevolent way to pay attention to what we really ought to be understanding about our life on earth, what we really ought to be knowing about our own journey. And that's how slowly and one day we'll see, yes, sub nonsense chodo, I'm really coming back to who I really am. And then that's wherein you will struggle. You will crawl because ego's way is attachment to the old. Ego's way is attachment to the pain, even if it is painful. And ego is scared of the new. So ego will try to deter you. But that's wherein the heart and the courage, that's wherein collaboration with the universe works. You ask support from the universal allies. You ask support from your guides, from your soul, from your animal allies, from nature to collaborate with you so that the journey feels easier. Many times I'll get frustrated and I'll say, okay, you want me to do this job? You better make it easy for me. I'm not struggling. Because we have been conditioned to effort a lot. We have been conditioned to struggle a lot. But the universe is an effortless universe. So I'll say, okay.
और नीलम will come my way. Yeah, beautiful. मेरे अंदर दो बहुत ही burning questions उठ रहे हैं. Firstly, and you can choose whichever one you want to answer first. Number one is, I was being called to talk about animals and animal spirits from the very beginning of this conversation. And when I heard that bird chirping behind you, she was louder than you. And then the second time was in the last time when you were talking again, I heard another bird chirping. And to me, animals call out to me so much. Like, I literally have called my balcony's door as the gateway to Narnia. Because I see the randomest of creatures that you will never see on the 16th floor in a concrete jungle. I've seen a parakeet, a monarch butterfly fly past me. It's crazy. So yes, I want to know about animal spirits and unka entire world within the world of shamanism and how it helps us to get to know ourselves more. दूसरा क्वेश्चन मेरा ये है कि when it comes to the aspect of divine feminine, बहुत सारे लोग स्पेशली इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड वो थोड़ा ऑफेंस ले लेते हैं इस बात पे कि डिवाइन फेमिनिन डिवाइन मैस्कुलिन, एक तो हम वननेस की बात कर रहे हैं, फिर हम मैस्कुलिन फेमिनिन जेंडर्स में सेपरेट कर रहे हैं. हम ऐसा क्यों करते हैं अगर एट द एंड ऑफ द डे हम एक सोल हैं, हम वन हैं? So I would really want you to, from the ancient teachings, to clarify a little bit this subject of what is divine feminine. What does it stand for? Is it a gender? What is it?
So thank you for asking two very potent questions. Coming back to power animals, uh, within shamanism, we believe in the concept of animism, which is that everything is energy, everything is alive, and everything is connected to everything else. So that is one. Not animalism, but animism, which is the aliveness of all of things. So this cup is as alive as this laptop, as this speaker, as this drum, as alive as is nature, as alive as you and I. And yes,
Is this something like the anima animus concept that Jung also talks about, Carl Jung?
that he talks about the feminine and masculine. That is again feminine, masculine will come to.
Okay.
Uh, but in the concept of animism, which means that जैसे हम हिंदुइज्म में कहते हैं ना कि प्रकृति के कण कण में प्राण है, पत्थर भी जिंदा है, पत्थर भी alive है. So that concept that everything is alive. This clip is also alive. This phone is also alive. This water bottle is also alive, and everything is consciousness. And through shamanic tools, we can connect to the consciousness, soul, or spirit of anything and everything. And everything is speaking to me and connect is interconnected. So that is one. The second one is coming to animal guides. We believe that each of us have guides in two forms. One is human forms, our deities, ancestors, light beings, etc., which we all know, angels, divine beings, guardian spirits, angel guides, etc. And second is we have guides in the animal forms. So the guides who come to us in the animal form in shamanism are known as spirit animals or power animals. And it is believed that in a given lifetime, minimum 1 to 3 animal guides have chosen to be with us in this given life. And each set of animal represents a specific set of attributes or qualities. In shamanic language, we choose to call it medicine. So each animal represents specific medicine or qualities and attributes that come along with it. And the more we work with that animal ally, the more we imbibe those spiritual attributes and qualities. Let's say, for example, in this lifetime, lion has chosen to be my spirit animal or animal guide right now in this phase of my life. So, whatever qualities the lion represents, either I have or by choosing to work with the lion, I will further enhance and build and develop those attributes. So, for example, if lion represents leadership, that would imply that I have leadership qualities and or in this lifetime I need the spiritual power of being a great leader, and that's why lion has chosen to be with me to develop these attributes. So by aligning and working through various ways with the lion, I will develop those attributes of self-worth, self-confidence and leadership which the lion represents. and so on and so forth for each animal. So animal doesn't only mean four-legged, it means also the flying ones, the creepy crawlies, the sea creatures, the reptilian creatures, the river creatures, the insects. Every part of the animal kingdom would represent the wild, and in its wildest form would represent our animal allies and animal guides. So this is a little brief about spirit allies.
So I just want to say here, like how in my life, eagle has been like one of the spirit animal for me. I don't know the difference between power and spirit, but eagle, swan, and the podcast that I did before you was with the Unmasking Collective. It's an organization. And they are going to start their podcast with the name Sher Dilli, which is basically Lionheart. So for me, lion is also very, very significant. So lions, eagles, and swan, all three have been like coming to me like day in, day out. Then sometimes there are very specific ones. Just say whenever my dads or ancestors bring me some messages, my dad's sides, my dada, grandfather, then pigeons are around. If it's about some transformation that I'm going through as a metamorphosis, it's been a monarch that I see. That is on a regular basis, but very like rarely to mark like checkpoints in my life. I see eagles 101. Like randomly, it's 11:11, and I look outside on the top of my building. There's an eagle standing there. I take out my camera to take a picture. In my heart, wish, please spread your wings. I want to take a picture. And the next moment, it spreads its wings so far apart, and I take a picture. It's so beautiful the way nature communicates with me, and this is just my way of sharing a bit about my life, so that whoever is hearing this knows that stuff like this happens, and it's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing about the animals with me. It really makes me believe so much more in all of this
Sure. Would
in
you like
creation.
practical examples?
Okay, sure.
So me and Paul get married, okay? And we were in India, and then we moved to the US, and we are in California at that point in time. And my knees start hurting, and I didn't know why they are hurting. Uh, an animal name goes on into my unconscious: ostrich, 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 ostrich. And I invoke the ostrich, I work with the ostrich, and within working with the ostrich for half an hour, my knee pain often disappears when I'm in the US. When I research and when I connect to the ostrich and look up into ostrich medicine, one of the attributes of the ostrich is the bird, only bird which has very strong legs. And one of the attributes of ostrich has very strong grounding. And Lord behold, I was not feeling grounded in California. I was not liking California. I was not feeling rooted in California. I was not feeling at home with the land. And the moment I would work with ostrich, my grounding would improve. And within some time of working with the ostrich, my knee pain would disappear. This is one example. Fast forward many years, we are in India. Paul goes for his Vipassana, and I go for a naturopathy detox for 10 days. And in the naturopathy center, we are walking. Okay. And again, my knees are hurting. I'm like, I'm calling the ostrich, meow. And the magic isn't working. I'm like, what's happening? Why is my knee pain still continuing? Why am I limping? So in the yoga hall, I'm sitting and I'm putting both my hands on my knees and I'm doing Ho'oponopono, which is a prayer, which is like, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And I'm doing this prayer. And suddenly the image of a horse flashes in front of my eyes. And okay, so horse is about moving forward. I said, okay, I might be resisting moving forward, blah, blah, blue, blue, and I need the medicine of the horse. So I'm staying with this thought process. Very interestingly, the yoga teacher ends up saying that all our asanas are built on the postures of the animals and they have animal significance. And he says, mind you, he says, for example, the knees of the horse are very, very strong. I'm like deja vu. So I walk yes, I walk with the horse. And this is science symbol and synchronicity. This is like universe validating that at that moment I needed the power or the attribute or the medicine of the horse for my strong knees. And then the knee pain goes away. So this is how even those animals who may not be a part of our primary guides, we can work with those animals and their attributes to receive help, wisdom, guidance, and healing. There will be minimum one to three who will be a part of our primary setup and who will be with us and who will be our guides, primary guides. But even those animals who are not our guides, we can also ally with them. We can have an alliance with them and we can take their help for healing, wisdom, and guidance. That's how beautiful the world of animalism and power animals is.
It reminds me of how there are three jewels that I think Buddhism talks about: the Buddha, the Sangha, and the which I'm forgetting, the Buddha, the Sangha. Yeah, so basically there are three jewels. The third one I'm forgetting right now. But the Buddha talks about the medicine man, and the Sangha talks about the community. And I think the second one is related to like your sadhana, which basically, sorry, the second one is dharma. So your dharma. So it talks about what kind of karma or what kind of values, what kind of teachings and actions are you living your life by. So the medicine man, I really love how the language somewhere needs no, like it overlaps. In shamanism, you're using the word medicine so much. So it reminds me of the Buddha aspect of the three jewels. Ki the medicine man. And the medicine man doesn't need to be the Buddha from Buddhism. It can be you yourself being a medicine to you, or the nature in some way, some aspect of nature being a medicine to you. It can be a doctor giving you a real medicine. And it also again reminds me of the concept of Hinduism, where there are so many deities, so many devis and devtas, where all of them have certain attributes. And people go into questioning and digging, were they real? Like, are these stories real? Like historically, finding a place where probably Krishna did stand on top of a snake and danced, but rather see the mythological inference of the entire story, that he actually went into the river Yamuna and then fought the snake for 3 days, and what all he did in that entire story, which can inspire us, what the snake stands for and what Krishna stands for. It's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing this and bringing this from within me also, all of these aspects. So the second question, the divine feminine, let's tap onto that.
So, first, let's break the myth that the feminine and masculine is not about oneness and it's about gender. Feminine and masculine is there in every aspect of life, not just human beings, not just Neelam or Dinima or Paul or anyone else. Every aspect of life represents these two core energies. And when we talk about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, we're not talking about separation. We're talking about honoring both and coming together of both as one in balance. For any aspect of our life, for any system, whether it be our body, any machine, nature, or anybody, to function at its optimum capacity in harmony and in balance, we need both these principles. And it would be wonderful if these two principles can be in harmony with each other and can be in balance with each other. And that is where the oneness arises. What is this oneness that we're talking about? It is of these two energies coming together as one and operating in alignment, partnership, and harmony and balance. It is there Dinima has masculine energy and feminine energy. Neelam has feminine energy and masculine energy. Paul has masculine and feminine, or any other man has masculine and feminine. Nature has masculine and feminine energy. So all of life operates on the premise of these two core fundamental energies. And one of the fundamental principles of shamanism is to come to a balance of these two forces. That's what creates our unity, harmony, and oneness and balance. Look at our day, the entire day. Night is feminine, where we retreat, where we withdraw, where we draw the curtains, where we switch off the lights, where we go within, where we rest, recuperate, and are reborn into the next day afresh, where all action pauses. We go within, we rest, we pause, we recuperate. Then we have the day, which is masculine, which is full of light. We go out, we take action, we build, we have stimulation. External, internal, masculine, feminine. Now imagine the day with just light and not darkness. Light being masculine, darkness being feminine. Imagine a day, let's say today is 10th 10th January, only with darkness, only with night, or 10th January, only with day and no darkness. Is it possible? Only with the sun, which is masculine, or only with the moon, which is feminine. Only with action, 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 logic, 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 doing, 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 acquiring, acquisition, expansion. That's all masculine. And feminine, rest, recuperation, intuition, spontaneity, impulse. Can we operate only out of logic? Can we operate only out of mind? No, we need heart, we need emotions, we need intuition. Can we operate only out of structure? No, we need fluidity, we need flow. Can we operate only out of rules? No, we need spontaneity as well. Intuition and logic both go hand in hand. Without each, there is the balance of scales is like this. We need both to come together in harmony. Within a woman, we need masculine and feminine both. We need action, we need spontaneity and intuition. Within a man, we need rules, the doership, the givership. We also need receptivity. Look at the tree. The tree's roots go beneath the soil. They receive nurturing from the soil. The trunk and the branches and the fruit receive from the rain, from the sunlight, from the wind. Only then can the tree give its shade, flowers, and fruits to the humanity. Giving being masculine, receiving being feminine. Both are at hand in hand with the tree. Without one, the tree cannot be who she or he is. Similarly, we need to receive, we need to give. That is why we have the Shivlinga. The lingam gives, the yoni receives. Masculine and feminine. Masculine principle being of giving. That doesn't mean a man has to only give. I'm talking about the masculine principle of giving and receiving. As a woman, we receive as well as we give. As a man, he gives as well as receives. If you look at different phases of a menstruation cycle within a woman, two phases are masculine phases and two phases are feminine phases. That's how she arrives into a balance, into a cyclical nature of her own being. Cycles being feminine and linear way being masculine. If you look at seasons, spring, summer, autumn, winter, spring and summer are very masculine seasons. There is growth, there is upspring of activity, there is action, new life. If you look at autumn, there is shedding, there is slowing down. If there is winter, there is death and decline of activity. Without winter, spring cannot exist. Without spring, autumn cannot happen. Without autumn, summer cannot happen. each complements the other and becomes a beautiful circle in this web of life. They are all complementary. And so is our body. And so are our cycles. We are all cyclical beings. But we have unfortunately only now remembered, hey, I'm sorry, we have only remembered the masculine way of being. We've forgotten the feminine way of being. We all just want to do, grow, acquire, build, expand. We've forgotten the feminine way of community, the feminine way of interconnectedness, the feminine way of nurturing and intuition, the feminine way of being interdependent, nuclear versus interdependent, linear versus circular, community versus singularity. Two ways, both important.
Yeah.
That's what I keep saying. The pandemic really taught us to, and the feminine way has been suppressed for a long time. That's wherein in the pendulum, in the pandemic, we learned to embody the feminine ways and to come to a balance of few things in our lives. Both energies are important before we could even talk oneness. But unfortunately, through thousands of years, we've been programmed to be the masculine way. Even women have become programmed to become masculine. And so, with the rise of the healing methodologies, with the rise of spirituality, the feminine influx is coming back. And only then, when we embody the feminine, because we are so high on our masculine, but only when we start embodying the feminine, only then we talk about balance. पहले तो ये सप्रेस्ड ही इतना चल रहा है फेमिनिन और मैस्कुलिन मैस्कुलिन इतना है और फेमिनिन इतना दबा हुआ है फेमिनिन वेज देंगे तो धीरे 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 इक्वालिटी आएगी फिर बैलेंस आएगा फिर हार्मनी आएगी फिर वननेस आएगा सो इट्स ऑलवेज अ जर्नी इट्स अ लॉन्ग
I feel like just like the roots of the tree as you spoke about, बहुत सारी चीजें लाइफ में हमारी अनसीन होती हैं. सॉइल के नीचे रूट्स हमें दिखती नहीं है. वैसे शायद से हमारी फिजिकलिटी और हमारी रिप्रोडक्टिव ऑर्गन्स की वजह से बहुत सारी चीजें अनसीन रह जाती हैं, जैसे एनर्जी. तो बहुत सारे लोग और मैं खुद इस चीज को बहुत क्वेश्चन करती हूँ कि व्हाट अबाउट द पीपल हु आर born with both the body organs, like how would we categorize their energies? Or there are in southern parts of India where there are deities who have both the reproductive organs. So for me, I feel like, but then when I see Ardhanareshwar, like the Shiv and Shakti coming together, it's in one entity. That is where I got the answer to my question, that actually when a baby is born, उनको कुछ भी नहीं पता होता है मेरा जेंडर क्या, रिप्रोडक्टिव ऑर्गन क्या. एवरीथिंग इज टॉट बाय द पेरेंट्स टू द चाइल्ड और बाय द सोसाइटी टू द चाइल्ड. उस बच्चे को जेंडर से कोई मतलब नहीं है, उस बच्चे को अपने नाम से तक कोई मतलब नहीं है. उसके अंदर बस क्यूरियोसिटी है और उसको जो दे दिया, ही इज लाइक गिव, आई एम हियर टू रिसीव, आई एम हियर टू लर्न. तो समवेयर मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो एस्पेक्ट होता है जेंडर्स की वजह से और फिजिकलिटी की वजह से और रिप्रोडक्टिव ऑर्गन्स की वजह से एंड अगेन कंडीशनिंग की वजह से, वो एस्पेक्ट ऑफ एनर्जी कि हम एक्चुअली यहाँ पे बस एक एज एन एनर्जी या सोल बस एक बॉडी में आ गए हैं. एंड वो एनर्जी इन इट्स बेसिस इज डुअल. And that dual, we as humans use the language of masculine and feminine. And in logic and in reasoning and the way that we've been taught, we have labeled plants में feminine organs reproductive होते हैं, masculine होते हैं, pollens होते हैं, and then a new flower is born. So I guess जो internal shift मुझे make करना पड़ा अपनी life में to say that okay, oneness is a thing, but it does split into, because this is a three-dimensional reality. मेरे एक physical body है, at least in my perspective and vision. तो I guess वो duality में masculine and feminine words use करना is not a problem, as long as I know it's all about the energy and it helps me understand myself better. And when it comes to the aspect of the divine feminine being raised above, again, because of the physicality wala aspect or structure, this is only my point of view, that world mein feminism is rising up. Feminism is being about equality between men and women, but it is not at the physical level. It is supposed to be at the energetic level, in the sense that men, I feel like men are supposed to withdraw and learn how to rest, so that they can go into more meditative states or more spiritual ways of being, more subtler ways of being. And that is when they come to the same levels as the feminine in the society. So,
Right now, also when we are using feminine, we are making it gender specific unconsciously. It's not gender specific. And
yeah. Oh my God.
and feminism has nothing to do with the divine feminine. Both are different movements. Of course, women were suppressed and subjugated and are still suppressed and subjugated. And so that kind of movement was needed for women to rise up. But unfortunately, in that process of rising up and being equal to men, not only is the feminine energy suppressed in men, but unfortunately, the feminine energy has gone suppressed in women too. And they have become utterly masculine in this race to be equal to men.
Yeah.
They have forgotten their core essence. And if the majority of womb related illnesses that you will see are because women are not embodying and owning their womanhood or their innate core feminine essence and energy, which is intuitive, which is.
And what about the men in this stance? Like, if we do talk about gender, like, women are becoming more masculine. They're having womb issues. Very much seen because relatable for me as a woman in gender. But what about the men in gender who are like, what is happening with them in their energies of masculine and feminine?
Operating out of feminine, out of masculine. I'm slip of tongue. May it be so, both operating out of the feminine. But so yeah, both operating their masculine, women becoming more man-like or more masculine, leading to their disconnection from their feminine essence, leading to health issues, identity crisis, you name it.
Yeah.
Same with men. Men have also become more masculine, over competitive, over controlling, over aggressive. So the masculine, if the feminine has suppressed, so balance of scales. So 50 masculine, 50 feminine. If feminine has gone down, both in men and women, which means what element has automatically risen? Masculine, isn't it? If both are 50-50, and this has feminine has gone down and masculine has risen, right? Which means which element is also imbalanced apart from feminine?
Masculine.
Masculine is also imbalanced. If either we are operating out of less energy or more energy, both are imbalanced because both have to be equally harnessed and used within one. So men have become over masculine and over controlling and over dominating and over achievers. What has happened as a result of that? Men have disconnected from their own emotional, softer, nurturing self. Men have become disconnected from their own receiving, from their own creative energy, from their own rest and pause. And there is another side to the pendulum. Now, men in the endeavor to embody feminine, there are also men who are becoming more feminine and unconsciously disowning their rightful masculine. You will see a lot of over feminine men as well. So this pendulum or seesaw will go on until both heal their feminine and masculine and come to a balance and then come together as a man and woman as internally, individually balanced individuals. This will give rise to a healthy woman, a healthy man in owning of our healthy masculine, healthy feminine, in owning and harmony with his healthy feminine and healthy masculine, come together as healthy individuals, become a family, which is a functional family, birth children, which becomes functional family and functional society. So, why feminine and masculine need healing? Because our society is imbalanced and it needs to start micro. Because if I don't heal, the suppression of feminine and the over masculine, or whatever wounded masculine and wounded feminine in me, how can I come in matrimony or in alignment with a man who is also operating out of his wounded feminine and his masculine? So, man and woman, when they heal internally this imbalance, this wounded feminine and wounded masculine, and then come together in matrimony, that gives rise to a healthy family. That gives rise to a healthy society. So, this work is so deep that we can't even fathom, and the magnitude is so huge. So, we can't even begin to realize.
Comprehend it.
Can't even, yeah, absolutely.
So two things that I want to touch upon. You said the masculine also is becoming very much feminine these days, and they are also like retreating way too much. Is one aspect, in the sense withdrawing way too much, not owning up to their masculinity, not being in action. Again, question there, if you can reiterate why is that happening? Because ये थोड़ा सा tangent shift हो जाता है of the linear way of functioning things. In my understanding at least. And another topic that I want to touch is कि जो gender है, say for example the people, as I said, who are born with both the organs, gender wise, unka and especially the queer community, जिसमें women and women are coming together, men and men are coming together, there are polyamorous communities. So unka kya role hota hai when it comes to when they don't identify with either masculine or feminine, but as you said, creation में masculine femininity energy level पे होती है, तो how is nature working there to bring oneness still?
Very hard to say. Maybe they have been in denial of one energy and they want to experience both energies in this lifetime. It's always a soul choice. So in Native American societies, these people, the trans people, were known as two-spirited people. And now really, where these two energies are already existing, we try to bring balance of these two energies, and they were really revered and honored because these two energies were already present and balanced within them, or they had been born to experience the balance of these two energies within them, and they were considered really sacred. And the tribe would go to them for advice and suggestions and counseling. They were really, really wise, considered to be very, very wise and sacred. It's we who judge them, this is right and wrong. But the two spirited people were really honored and revered. So it really depends on the soul choice, why the soul chose to be bisexual, why the soul chose to be trans, or why the soul chose a particular way. Which energy was in denial? Even if you talk about, there are certain souls who feel like cross dressing. A man will feel like dressing up as a woman. If you look at their soul history, there will be several lifetimes of suppression of women or suppression of the feminine. And this lifetime is becoming ripe to go beyond that challenge and accept their womanhood, accept their feminine energy within themselves, at the same time being born as a man. And that also journey comes up as a journey of deep self acceptance. So, really, you need to see what's been the karmic story, what's been the soul history, what lessons the soul wants to learn, and then that's why this person is the way he or she is. It really, really is not black and white, really.
So for me, what I learned from this is a shift in perspective in my own point of view, which was earlier, as we said, where you interrupted me, was again very outwardly. Like मुझे personally ऐसा feel होता है कि if I heal myself and if I raise two children, one female, one masculine per se, and then I also say adopt a kid who is trans. For me, it is not about the children, it is about me, how healed I am to raise three children from a space of consciousness and oneness. And also a shift in perspective in the sense ki, especially in relations to masculine, I used to feel that more than the feminine being empowered in the society, the man needs to be empowered, because the man needs to be somewhere not like made to realize their capability, given love. Like, I feel like they need so much love and healing in the society, so that they become so much more subtler, compassionate, empathetic somewhere, so that they can then not be benevolent. They can then not move into the space of non-violence, rather than the focus being on the women. But again, this is a very outwardly point of view, which I think for me shifted now, getting the energetic perspective. And also I feel like no matter what, ये तो मेरा हमेशा ही रहता है कि no matter what, at the unconscious level, whatever is happening inside or outside, at the end of the day is happening for the greater good. Say for example, COVID. So we never really know, and we cannot comprehend. All we can do is have point of views, but I teach myself to be open to all point of views, because my truth is right now this. Earlier, few moments back, my thought process was very different, and now my thought process is very different. Does not change who I am, but it's just a new moment and a new world for me that I'm gonna create in the next moment. So that is just what I took back from what you just shared about these energies. Thank you so very much. I want to ask you so many more questions about twin flames, about dreams. Oh my God, about elements. Oh, you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah. So just to add to what you said about men needing empowerment, so there have been thousands of years of women who have been suppressed and subjugated. Huh. And that's one aspect. The feminine has been gone suppression vis-a-vis the masculine energy. That's another aspect. Fast forward in time, there is influx of feminine energy. There is awareness within man and woman to embody the feminine. That's third aspect. The fourth aspect, unfortunately, is that in this whole dynamic and the power struggle between masculine and feminine, or between a man and a woman, from the subjugation of women, which still exists, we also now seeing that men have equally been exploited, because women have been exploited, and as a cause and effect, men have also gone through suppression and dominion and control and manipulation. And so, very right when you say that men need healing as much as women need healing. Women need empowerment as much as men need empowerment. Women have wounding as much as men have wounding. So, in order for us to come to an empathy within ourselves, we have to really let go of our gender specific role as a man and a woman, and come back to where I am wounded, what happened to me. And now, where I might be wounding the man, or the man himself might be attracting wounding as a man through the woman. And where can this dynamic between each individual shift? And that is why, coming back to micro, when I as a woman heal the subjugation of woman within me, and the suppression of the feminine or the masculine woundedness within me, and a man heals the subjugation as a man, or dominion or manipulation through a woman within himself, or the suppression of the feminine within himself, and the overly masculine coming down to balanced masculine. And then when they come together, that's wherein we have a healthy family and a healthy society. So it all boils down to both are suffering, in my opinion, today, not just one.
So, wow, food for thought. So I was saying कि मेरे को बहुत सारे questions पूछने हैं आपसे. Oh my God, this one podcast is not enough. So, but I have to wrap it up here, because it's like 1.5 hours. I don't know how many people would want to listen to it, but I do want to give an open invitation to everybody that if you do have further questions, you can always reach out to Neelam. You can reach out to me as well. We will be more than happy to have conversations over these subjects. And you can always learn from Neelam. She has so many workshops. There's so much to learn. For me also, ये एक start ही है. So feel free to reach out. And Neelam, we have to do another podcast with talks about dreams and all the topics I mentioned that I sort of missed out. Inner child, shadow work, twin flames, oh my god, relationships through shamanism, functional family systems, oh my god, बहुत सारे topics है. So we are going to do a second podcast. I will request you and you can get back to me later. No pressure. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh God, before we close, let's close secret. Let's close secret
Okay, okay.
before we forget.
Okay, lovely.
So thank Sarthi Speaks for having me. Thank you, dear one. Thank you all the audiences that are listening to us. Thank you, Spirit of the Air, for such beautiful conversation. Thank you, Spirit of the South, for bringing your magic and passion into our conversation. Thank you, Spirit of the West, for bringing in flow of the watery realm. Thank you, Spirit of the North and the ancestors, for bringing your wisdom through my voice and our conversation. Thank you, Grandfather Sky, for watching us from above, and Mother Earth for holding us from below. Thank you, Spirit of the Heart, for keeping both of us in the heart centered space where we had this conversation with effortless ease. Thank you, all our guides and power animals, all the divinity that resides within us. Thank you, Spirit of Technology, for supporting us so beautifully for this conversation and for this episode. I bless you, I see you, I honor you, and I acknowledge you. And I request all of you to continue doing the good work, continue being who you really are in this web of life. The world needs more of you. I hope. With that, we end the secrets, close the secret space, and end today's session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.